Hello, thank you for taking the time to visit art in our school. My name's Miss Bushman, I am the art subject lead. We have given art the child-friendly definition of creating artwork in mixed media to express what we see, what we feel and what we think about the world. The aims of this session will be to highlight our curriculum intent, what we intend to do in the subject across our school, how, the implementation, how we do it, and the impact, the effect, the long-lasting effect that should have on our children. So essentially our whole school vision is we're very specific about what we want to do, we sequence it well across the school, and we want it to be remembered. So let's start with the curriculum intent. It comes from the knowledge-rich curriculum, so in that we say that knowledge should be valued and specified. We think very deeply about it, and it's again well sequenced right across, starting from EYFS, our reception children foundation stage, right through to our year sixes. Very thought through, and I will go in more detail about that shortly, and it's taught to be remembered. It also increases our pupils' cultural capital being the way we can provide them with experiences and opportunities to help them progress and achieve success in future life. Or let's just say one of the ways that we can help them. So our curriculum, we believe, is progressive. It didn't happen by chance. We sit and we talk and we come up with our North Wootton curriculum based on the key themes displayed here from the national curriculum. So we're looking at concepts in art, art and the creators of art, the processes involved and the skills involved. We want our children to make connections between the art itself and the various artists, the concepts and the skills and processes. So the primary knowledge curriculum has different units within it, and this is an overview of the PKC, that's what we call it for short, but that's not necessarily the order in which we teach it across the year in each year group, but this just gives you an idea of the main subject matter per half term. And we take that and we drill into that, and we have the overview of the concepts, the type of art, the skills and the processes. You'll see that on this slide on the left hand side. So this is an example, a summary of year one art, and then that's in the first rectangle, and if you go to the next one then that's broken down in more detail. Like I said earlier, I would stress that this is a 2-year cycle in our school, a 2-year rolling cycle in art, and so we have really looked at it as to where we want it to fit our overall curriculum, but this will give you an idea. In more detail you'll find which units we're teaching and when on our school website. Now also I will just say, bearing in mind there's lots of information on some of these slides and then not so much on another, please feel free to pause this video as you're going through. So in terms of concepts, there's seven essential elements of art. Here they are: line, texture, tone, shape, colour, form and space. This is just a diagram here to show you the depth of one of these concepts, which is colour, and you can see so much comes from the idea, the concept of colour. For example, if we just look at the top, primary and secondary colours, tints and shades, warm and cool colours, amongst the others in the lighter blue. This is so important, and I'm not sure whether or not we're going to be able to see in great detail what I'm showing you now, but this is a photo of a progression display in our school which shows those 7 elements and how they progress across our school. Across the top row are each element, and you'll see there's 7 rectangles, each element with an example of a piece of work from EYFS. As I said, it starts in our foundation stage, and then if you go down, so if you see on the left hand side, you'd go down, you'll see blue arrows. That's that is EYFS, and you will see then it goes down. Second row will be year 1 and 2. Sorry, not second row, yes it is second row. Second row 1 and 2, then 3, 4, and then 5, 6. So I'm looking here at the blue arrows on the left hand side. What I would welcome you to do is to come and actually have a look at this display, but what I've just explained there is the colour section. And you'll notice, well, perhaps you won't because it's a little bit tricky to see, but the bottom row, there's more writing there, and I'll come to that, but that's our year 5, 6 children as they evaluate and really get into thinking critically about what they have produced. So getting back to the skills, the painting, again, subdivided, if you like, into all various parts of what painting is and the skill of painting. Again, I can't stress enough, we're very proud of our foundation stage, our EYFS, and if we just talk now about the colours, they already, in our first classes within our school, when they think about colour, they're already talking, they're using the language, the key vocabulary, primary, secondary, warm, cold, neutral, tints and shades. Even the vocabulary is progressive across the school, and it starts there. There's our display again. Keeping with colour, there's an example of work in year 1, year 2 and 3, year 4, year 5, year 6. Here we've gone into real detail, and I'm going to go now and talk a little bit more about the implementation, so how we actually deliver art across our school. We think in terms of processes. We're looking at art, we're thinking about it, we're talking, and then we're doing. It all starts by that visual looking. The processes are observation, using the imagination, analysing, investigation and exploring, designing and planning. Evaluation is more the process to see whether or not that knowledge has been retained. Although the children do, of course, evaluate their art as they go along. Thinking about observation, we're really looking into the detail. And as a concept, relatively new in the school, we're using the idea of our children having a superpower, the superpower of looking. This is visual literacy, and it really helps across all subjects. The little icon in the top right, that's we've created that. That's our own little art superhero, and we put that on pictures when we, or any piece of work, when we really want our children to really look critically at a piece of work. They'll recognise that icon. We want them to use their imagination, be free with art. That's the beauty of art. It's just a freedom within the subject to create, be unique, be special, as we all are. We'll analyse and we'll investigate. We're in our sketchbook, we're looking at a piece of art and we're making notes about it. We design and we plan. And what we want is the impact for our children. So in the evaluation process, they're critically thinking, self-reflecting about their pieces of work that they've produced. We sometimes have a silent gallery where we put our work on the table and we wander around and look at each other's work as well. This is an example for year 2. And again, in Key Stage 2, we're doing something similar, really annotating our work and really thinking about it. And that's the reference I made earlier to the bottom row when we get to our 5, 6s come into our school, but you will see lots of detailed analytical thinking about their pieces of work. We have set structures of getting our children to think critically. We have a school speaking and listening policy where we give sentence stems. We use that a lot in debate as well, and you could debate a piece of work and how you feel about it. Everybody's opinion is welcomed, of course. We have this, which is talk like an artist. So again, it gives sentence stems to start off their critical thinking and some key vocabulary. And we homed in this particular example, we've homed in the talk like an artist, and this is just an example of a little task where they had to choose their favourite artwork and use some of this wording in their evaluating, in their analysing their own piece of work. Rubrics are very important. They are ways where once every half term children look at a piece of their work and then analyse where they are. This one relates to colour, and we'll try and, if for example say they were in the first top white row across the paddling row, we'll try and push them, challenge them if you like, to get into the next rung. And if they're in the scuba area, we're thinking about step for depth. So there's always somewhere to go in basically, first of all, them self-analysing their work. You'll notice step for depth as well mentions other artists, so they're comparing their work to other artists, again evaluating. It's very set in our curriculum which artists we expose the children to. And I would just say that rubric that of course the teachers would use and make sure they agree with it. I've gone forward onto another slide, which is our mini quiz. So these are, each half term we have 6 questions, multiple choice questions that the children look at throughout the half term, and at the end we see if they remember 6 key facts. So really this is our whole school vision. We're very specific about what we want to teach our children. We have set structures very, very well sequenced across the school. If you go into any art lesson, it doesn't matter what age group you're looking at, our teachers just have a very clear way of teaching, if you like, the North Wotton way, the set structured way. And we want to make sure that the children remember, of course, what is taught. Now, in terms of what do we do, I've just said the teachers have a structured way. Yes, of course they do, but we want to create our own flair. Everybody's different, of course, so we add in our own elements, and of course conversations in class can go all sorts of different directions when we discuss and debate in our collaborative groups our art. But we're also thinking about our teamwork values, working together, thinking about the community. Where can we find art in the community, in our local area, whether it's just on our school playing field or in our village or in Kings Lynn or wider in Norfolk, maybe going on school trips. And we are increasingly inviting local artists in as well to inspire our children as much as anything else, to show that you can be an artist if that's what you choose to do. You can achieve. We'll also talk to our pupils, pupil voice. This is just an example when we asked our younger children in EYFS, well, what's going well? These are direct quotes. They like art and colour. They like drawing and playing games. And this is a lovely example of how art is so expressive and so free in our foundation stage. Of course, our Forest School is very successful in that year group, and this is just an example which I wanted to show you, where they went into Forest School, picked some pieces out, twigs and leaves and cones and sticks, and then they came back and made a beautiful art pattern. That's a lovely thing to see. Key Stage 1, they like their colours and shapes as well. They like sketching and decorating and designing. What was lovely about this one, they said it's not just painting, which of course it isn't. So already at an early age, art is not just painting. There's so much other media to it, which is of course how I started the PowerPoint when I said how we had our child-friendly definition of art. Finally, of course, we've talked to our Key Stage 2 pupils. They like being creative. So much so that, again, talking about expressing themselves, we're looking at how we use our art sketchbooks and getting them to be a little bit freer, making their own personal sketches and getting their ideas, a bit like a mood board, and then producing a final piece based on those ideas. It's lovely that they like it to keep them calm. Obviously we're thinking well-being with that one. Recreating from the past, again those historical links, so key. they like it to be fun, and they know it doesn't need to be perfect, and that's just lovely. And of course there's also reference there to science drawing as well, and other subjects, Islamic art in RE. But that key one there doesn't need to be perfect, it's just having that freedom to be creative. That's basically it from me, really. And finally, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this video, and of course collaboratively we'd welcome your thoughts should you wish to let us know how you feel about the subject, and yeah, teamwork together we can carry on the good work. Thanks for listening.